and welcome once again to my layout, New Junction. Now, since the last video, not a great deal has actually happened, but it's been rather busy with various shows and whatnot, so I've been quite tight for time. But I thought, I'll come into the garage, I'll get some trains running, and I'll see what takes my fancy. And I think this time, it's a bit of an odd jobs day for me, so I'm going to go through the layout and tackle some of the long list of little things that I've been avoiding. So first on the list, as you know, this whole scene around the tunnel entrance has been the main focal point for any progress really in the last couple of months. But believe it or not, as I'm rushing ahead with the scenery, I'm actually missing some of the rather obvious small jobs because they're less exciting. Now the first one, which is quite obvious, and once I tell you, you won't be able to unsee it, so that's why I have to do it. This first rail hasn't actually had its side wash like the other three. And once you notice it, it's blaringly obvious. So this needs painting on, and what I'm using is as before, the Humbrol Rust Wash. It's nice and light, and takes a couple of coats to really bed in. So nothing too permanent. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly paint over those. We look at the centre. That's straight brown baseboard, and it hasn't actually been covered in any ground texture whatsoever, and actually stands out because it's actually quite shiny because it's covered in glue from the ballast when the ballast has been glued down. So that's also on the jobs list. Obviously, before painting anything, we bring the trains to a stop and remove the catenary, which currently is being held in by blue tack, but normally these would be magnets, so they would be removable anyway. Easy as that. And that's done, of course. For the central part, I'm going to be using some basing glue, because it's really good stuff and it's what I've got, and then I'll be sprinkling, just for now, some Woodland Scenic's fine turf on the top. Easy peasy. There we go. As you can see, it's a nice layering of powder. What I'll do is I'll let that dry now for a couple of days, and then hoover the excess off. And as you probably saw, I put down one of the scale model scenery drains. Of course, all the fine turf on top of it won't stick because it's not touching any glue, but that will. Right, let's move on. Right, so moving on, there's a couple of big things I've been avoiding around here. The first off is the ballast and ground cover just under this bridge. Now, the reason I don't do this is because there's a baseboard join here that comes straight across the layout, and of course I have to leave it unstuck to continue the baseboard join, which is just there if you can see it. Now, currently this wall slides out this way, and if I put ground texture and things, that will get stuck and I want to be sure before I can do the ground cover. So this is a job that's on the list, but it's got to wait a bit longer because I'm not 100% what I want to do with this yet. We'll also add a signal on the track while I'm thinking about it as well. But no, while I get to grips with the walling and the bridge top here, unfortunately this has to stay bare. So next, and a big bane to me currently, is this road surface. Now, originally, apparently this as well. Originally when I laid the road surface with plaster, it went on really nice, it was sanded smooth, and then away we go. Looked quite nice, but since then, it's actually bubbled and non-stop bubbled. I've even left it to dry for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's just, I think the plaster's just gone a bit. And I must have done this road easily 5 or 6 times now. And I'm just not particularly happy with how it looks currently. Looks a bit of a mess. And I think it's letting this seam down. So I thought, as a temporary fix, while I decide whether to completely rip it out or not, because annoyingly it's only this bit that's a problem. All the rest of the road, and then going off all the way down the layout over there, it's absolutely fine and worked first time, as it has done before for me. But this bit, big problem. It's the same thickness, it's wider, but it's yeah, it's just not gone very well. So it was suggested that rather than try again with more plaster and more filler and more sanding it down, to get some textured paint. It's not my preferred method, however, it does yield some good it does yield a good look to the layout once you're finished applying it. So I thought, let's do that, and we'll give it a see how I feel with it basically once it's been repainted, and I'll leave it like that for now before really going to town and potentially redoing it. So here goes. And there we go. As you can see, it's a fresh uniform colour, which ticks the boxes for me. Now, as I said, it is textured, it is thicker paint as well. So all being well, this will dry quite nicely. And once it's had some road markings on, once it's dry, hopefully it'll tick the boxes for me and we can move on and forget this horrible chapter. Now, one other thing that I need to do is on the jobs list is actually carve out the foam that's actually under there. You can just see it with a hot wire cutter. Now, excuse the pronunciation. I want the Weissman car system to basically come around and go up. It follows tape, in effect, like the Faller car system, except rather than wire, it's tape. And they're a bit more, there's a bit more functions to them. Anyway, that's a different video. But yeah, so I need to make it so there's a hole to go down, and that can be the loop for where the cars disappear and come back. But as I say, that's a future project. Right, sticking with this side of the layout, it's time to move on to some electrical things. So as you can hear, super simple job. I've actually reattached the sound module, the Gauge Master signal box sound module, to the bus wires underneath the layout. Now, it's a super simple job, but blimey, you forget how much the sound module actually brings the signal box to life. And even when there's no trains running, it really does add to the sort of ambient scene and feel to the layout in this particular section. But electrical wise, nice and easy is what I like, and there's a few more simple additions. So coming below the layout to where the controller is situated and my nest of wiring, I've actually dug out one of my electrical components I've had in the stores for a while, but I feel it's time to add it to the layout, although my wiring could do with a bit of a tidy up. This is a DCC Concepts alpha meter, and basically what it does is it doesn't just flash, it tracks the voltage and amps being used by the layout. So it tracks what your locos are using, any inrush current, that kind of thing, and it's a very useful piece of kit. Now obviously it's flashing on camera, but actually in reality this isn't flashing at all, it's just the LEDs reacting with the camera. And with the handy instructions, you see you get a nice template, so you can mount it, cut it out and mount it very nicely on the layout. I'm just putting it in situ for now because I'm lucky enough to have the shelf underneath the layout. And once I finish my wiring. Now the next thing I will be adding, so it comes as a pair that I've brought together, is the DCC Concepts Intelligent DCC Circuit Breaker. Now doesn't that sound interesting? In effect, what this does is it trips the system should the system short. Now you can change the sensitivity. Both of these pieces of kit, I should show you, are plug and play, no soldering, two wires in, two wires out, and that's the same on both of them. Now the advantage to this is, as we spend all our hard-earned pocket money on these very flash locomotives and coaches with lights and things, they're several £100, especially if you get a sound fitted version. Now what this does is it protects the layout and other rolling stock in the event of a short. So I don't know if you've ever had a chip randomly blow up or not respond or anything like that. Well, it's things like these that will save you bacon in that respect, and they're well worth adding, particularly when stock starts to build up and starts to sit on the layout, because as happens with all layouts, as things derail and whatnot and shorts happen, you need to protect the chips on your layout, and that's quite simply one of the best ways to do it, particularly with the value of your rolling stock. So you join me now on the other side of the layout. Now this is the station side, obviously. Now the first three lines work absolutely no problem at all, as we're about to see a Deltic rail tour come sweeping through the station. And the Heritage line, now this will be a station down there as well, somewhere, but this will be based on Thirsk. The platforms have already been done to mirror Thirsk, so I think the longest platform, which is the this station on that side, this platform on that side, this side, will hold a 5 or 6 car TP set or DME or something like that, which is perfect. And then of course, based on the real Thirsk, the centre is no longer used, and that's just for the sweeping express trains. Long story short, the reason I don't use the outside line, the fourth line, the very outside line on the main line, is because I haven't finished the track work, as you can see, because the baseboards need to be extended ever so slightly. It's a job I've been putting off for a while. I don't really know why, probably because I've just been busy on that side doing scenery. And with these three main lines running and the Heritage line running, there's not been any sort of real pressing need to get the fourth line running, but as you can see from just at the bottom of your screens where the 66 is just poking its head out, the track just needs to come out ever so slightly, and this one, I don't know if you can see, is already in place. But first things first, need to have the baseboards. There we go. As you can see, roughly, that's now in place. I need a few more wooden supports cutting down to hold the deck up, and then I'll screw that in before I can lay the track in. But one thing I'm quite chuffed about is I've managed to use all but one single piece of track. So from the various boxes I've brought to do this layout, so I'm quite chuffed with that. As you can see, that's going to be quite a nice island station once it's done. As I say, just like the real Thirsk, the freight and stopping services are on the outside and the fast services on the inside. That's why I've got all the points, so that things can go round the stopping services and provide just that little bit of interest for the main line. The real challenge now, of course, now I've come to the other side, is bearing in mind we always see this scene from this way, but where I stand is the back. So where these HY hoppers are, this is the back of the layout. This is the front, and of course you've got this station is now looping out, bubbling out, which is great. Love a bit of a curve, but then the heritage line actually bubbles in. So oh, that's going to be a fun one. Scenery wise, you'll have to throw in some ideas. I mean, obviously I'll cut this down. This will probably be a retaining wall as opposed to a straight embankment, but anything's possible. And then where do I put the station? I had originally planned to have it where these two coaches are, as a single platform, but I think that'll probably be a tad heavy in terms of stations. So yeah, thoughts on a postcard? Do let me know. What would you like to see heritage station wise? I could also put something up here on the curve as well. We shall see. Yeah. And there we are. Now, one thing I didn't mention was the platforms are laser cut kits by PGM Models, and they are currently sold by Key Model World. That's the company behind Hornby magazine. So if you check out Key Model World shop, you'll find the kits they do if you fancy building one. There's no affiliate link there, but it's just a handy tip to get them, and they do quite a few laser cut kits, so worth checking out. Now, talking of Key Model World and Hornby magazine, the next show I'm going to, as I'm filming this, I think it's 2 weeks' time, is the Great Electric Train Show. Now, it of course is run by Hornby magazine, Key Model World, as I've just said. It's one of my favourites, and I will be there in a work capacity on the Akira Scale stand. That's our biggest stand, and all our latest goodies. Now, it's one of the reasons I've been playing with my Akira Scale Deltic today, is I've been fettling with all the Run 2 Deltics and getting rather jealous, so I thought I'd get mine out. I think as I'm filming this, they're getting on a ship or whatnot. See them for updates, that's work. But no, you'll see all the latest goodies and toys on the Akira Scale stand, so do come along and say hello. I'll be there all weekend. Right, that was a bit of a tangent, wasn't it? But thank you very much for joining and watching this video today. I just wanted to basically get it out, just so you know I am still working away, and New Junction does improve ever so slightly week on week. I say improve, you know, progress is probably the better word. But no, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and of course, thank you very much to the channel patrons. And all being well, I'll see you all at the Great Electric Train Show. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.